Now let's deal with the idea of Jupiter. Now, when we deal with Jupiter, the idea that comes to mind is expansion. When we think about the idea of expansion, we think about growth. Now, if we break down the letters of Jupiter, we're going to end up with the number 9, which represents spirit or energy. When we piece this together, what we have is an expansion of energy utilizing the spirit, or the expansion of spirit utilizing energy. And this energy or this spirit that's being utilized is mostly the breath. So let's write that down. Expansion, first and foremost, okay, let me not misspell that. Expansion, first and foremost, of the breath. Expansion of breath. Expansion of breath, first and foremost, is the most important aspect of expansion, because you're not even able to deal with spirit if you're not breathing correctly. So the first thing is proper breathing. Before we talk about anything mental or physical, it first starts off with the breath, because that's where the spirit is. Based on how much spirit you're intaking and how much spirit you are purifying when you exhale, that's going to determine your level or your ability or your potential for spiritual expansion. Now, when we take this to the supreme mathematics, let's see what we get. So we'll write Jupiter down here one more time. J is the 10th letter, so we write 10. U is the 21st letter, 21. P, the 16th letter, 16. I is the 9th letter. T is the 20th letter. E is the 5th letter. And R is the 18th letter. Now when we reduce this, we're going to get 1, 3, 7. What is this? 2, 6, and 8. If we reduce it one more time, we're going to get 4, 9, 5. 495. Now, what is 495? We have 4, which represents culture. 9, which represents born. And we have 5, which represent power. Culture, born, power. Now that's pretty self-explanatory, but just to make things clear, your culture will give rise or birth to your mental and physical abilities. Now, what is your culture? Your culture is your way of life. Your way of life. What you're doing on a day-to-day basis. How you think and how you move. Birth or manifestation is dealing with when you want to manifest your culture, when you want to give light. You can say birth, but it's also light. To give light to your power, or to give way, or to make a bridge or pathway to your mental and physical powers. It all starts off with your way of life, with your culture. And if your culture is based in freedom, then your way of life will always give birth. Your light will always give birth to more physical and mental force. So let's write all that down. So your way of life gives light or birth to your mental and physical force. Sorry about that. Or ability. So once again, when your culture, your way of life is rooted in freedom, freedom of mind, freedom of thought, freedom of anybody else's or anything else influencing you when you know that it's time for you to cultivate who and what you are. You cut off all the outside influences and you go within yourself to study your way of life and why you have the certain way of life that you have. If it's not rooted in freedom, then you know that you must cleanse and free your mind. People do this with fasting and things of this nature. So your way of life will always give birth or light to your mental and physical force or ability, which is what? Expansion. This is how you expand based on your culture. So if your culture is not rooted in freedom, if it's rooted in destruction, or if it's rooted in manipulation of things that doesn't really serve us, as we call the matrix or illusion. You know, we buy into all these falsified ideas instead of rooting our way of life in something that gives us more freedom. This is the idea of expansion, which I spelled wrong here. Spell that one more time. There we go. Now, if we take this to supreme alphabets, let's see what that gives us. So let's get another page here. So again, we have Jupiter. So J represents justice. U is universe. I, or actually before I, we have P, which is power. Then we have I. Then we have truth, or square. Then we have equality. And lastly, we have ruler. So now that we have broken down each of the individual attributes of the letters, now we can take this a step further. Now, what is justice? Justice is a reward or penalty. Reward or penalty. Universe, you can say, is higher mathematics in terms of us being able to have a full range of awareness when it comes to everything not only around us but within us. So the universe composes or comprises of everything within us as well on the outside, the macro and the micro. So we can say higher laws. We have power, which we have just discovered was mental and physical force. So we just put force. Force. I, or you can say the I am, that I amness. So we just put this just to make it understandable. That I amness is the higher as well as the lower force or awareness or our way of life, meaning the crown chakra all the way down to the root chakra. So that I amness isn't just the crown, isn't just the root. It is the crown as well as the root as well as every other chakra in between. So that I amness is our full spectrum of awareness. So we just put here awareness. Truth or square is truth can always be backed by wisdom or the higher laws. When we use higher laws to explain the truth grows. Now, truth or square represents a square would always fold back to its center, meaning you start speaking truth based in mathematics. Falsehood would not be able to stand up against the truth. But when you start speaking higher mathematics, the truth will be expanded upon. So what we're going to write is, say truth. Let me see. I can just write it down here. Truth stands no matter what. Square folds every time. All right? Now let me push this button. What we have left is equality and ruler. So I'll just write this one more time. Hold on. Make sure this is correct. Equality and ruler. Now, what is equality? Equality is adjustment or alignment. So we just put this down here. Adjustment. And again, I know the writing is kind of sloppy, but I'll have that fixed next time, so no worries. And of course, ruler is measurement. Let me write a little bit slower here. So you have equality, which represents adjustment. Then ruler is measurement, adjustment of our measurements. So when we grow back up and we look at this holistically, what do we have? Justice, universe, power, I, truth for square, equality, ruler, which means our justice or our reward or penalty, which is based in higher laws. So it's not just what a man or a woman says. That reward or that penalty is based on the higher laws, which determines our physical as well as our mental force. Meaning when our mental and physical forces are in alignment with the higher laws, we will be rewarded instead of penalized. We are penalized when our mental and physical force is not in alignment with the higher laws. And our ability to be aware of these higher laws rests in our awareness of our I amness, being able to have a full spectrum of reality before us as well as within us. Right? And our full spectrum of reality will always stand up when the truth is present. The truth is we are that I amness. We're not just one or the other, the illusion of separation. The truth will stand no matter what. Falsehood will always fold back up to its center when the truth is present. So that I amness brings the truth to our awareness, so that any falsehood will be folded back to its center. And you can say, well, okay, how do you know what's falsehood? How do you know what's truth? And how does that affect us on a personal level? And as we go down here, the equality ruler represents adjustment of our measurements, meaning adjusting or aligning our measurements or our predictions. Meaning when we think about life, when we get up every morning and we make our plans for the day or our measurements for the day, our divination for the day, all this is rooted in how we are adjusted. What is our equality based in? How can we make those scales be as balanced as possible? This is based on our equality, which is based on our measurement or our ruler. The way we adjust and align our life is based on our measurements, our predictions, which is all rooted in truth, or it's going to be rooted in falsehood. So we leave it at that. We out.